The phone call came at 6:23 a.m. on Thursday. I was already awake, had been for hours, the dialysis port in my chest aching from last night's 4-hour session. Ms. Harper. The voice was urgent. This is Dr. Mitchell from Boston General Transplant Services. We have a kidney. Perfect match. Six-antigen compatibility. We need you here in 2 hours for pre-op. My hands shook as I gripped the phone. 2 hours? I'll be there. Bring someone with you. You'll need support post-surgery and transport home in 5 to 7 days. I hung up and immediately called my parents. My father, Dr. Robert Harper, Chief of Surgery at Mass General. My mother, Dr. Lisa Harper, Head of Nephrology at the same hospital. If anyone understood kidney transplants, it was them. Dad answered on the fourth ring, his voice thick with sleep. Rebecca? It's 6:30 in the morning. Dad, I got the call. They have a kidney. Perfect match. I need to be at Boston General in 2 hours. Silence. Dad. Rebecca, that's not possible. Today is Friday. Ryan's graduation from Harvard Law is tomorrow. The whole family is coming. We have dinner reservations tonight, the ceremony tomorrow afternoon, a celebration party tomorrow evening. Dad, this is a kidney transplant. I've been on the waiting list for 3 years. This is. Kidneys come up all the time. You can get the next one. Ryan's Harvard graduation is once in a lifetime. I couldn't breathe. The next one? Dad, I'm an end-stage renal failure. I do dialysis 4 times a week. My GFR is 7%. This isn't elective. Your numbers have been stable for months. A few more weeks won't matter. Tell them you can't make it today. You can't turn down a transplant. The organ goes to the next person on the list. Then it goes to the next person. Rebecca, your brother worked incredibly hard for this degree. We're not missing his celebration because you have a minor medical procedure scheduled. Minor medical procedure. A kidney transplant. Put Mom on, I said, my voice shaking. Mom's voice came through, already defensive. Rebecca, your father is right. You're stable. We've reviewed your labs. There's no immediate crisis. This can wait. I've been waiting 3 years. This is a perfect match. 6 antigens. Do you know how rare that is? We're nephrologists, dear. We understand kidney matching better than you do. And we're telling you this isn't urgent. Ryan needs us this weekend. I need you. I need someone to drive me to the hospital, stay with me through surgery, help with post-op care. Ask a friend. We have commitments this weekend that can't be changed. They hung up. I sat in my apartment, the dialysis port throbbing, the phone still in my hand, and understood with perfect clarity that my parents had just chosen my brother's party over my survival. I called an Uber to the hospital. Dr. Mitchell met me in pre-op, her face concerned. Rebecca, where's your support person? I don't have one. My family couldn't make it. Couldn't make it to your kidney transplant? My brother's graduating from Harvard Law tomorrow. They said it was more important. Dr. Mitchell's expression hardened. Your parents are both physicians? Dad's chief of surgery at Mass General. Mom heads nephrology there. And they think a graduation is more important than a transplant for a patient in end-stage renal failure? She pulled out her phone. Excuse me for a moment. She stepped outside. I could hear her voice through the door, sharp and authoritative. Yes, this is Dr. Sarah Mitchell, Transplant Services at Boston General. I need to speak with Dr. Thomas Reed immediately. Yes, I'll hold. Tom, Sarah Mitchell. We need to discuss something concerning. Very concerning. Dr. Thomas Reed was the director of Boston General and sat on the medical licensing board for Massachusetts. The surgery happened that afternoon. 6 hours. When I woke up in recovery, the dialysis port was gone and I had a functioning kidney for the first time in 3 years. Dr. Mitchell was there, along with Dr. Reed, a man in his 60s with steel gray hair and an expression that suggested he'd seen everything medicine had to offer and wasn't impressed by much. Miss Harper, Dr. Reed said, how are you feeling? Tired. But better. The kidney's working. Beautifully. Best post-transplant function I've seen in months. He paused. Dr. Mitchell tells me your parents, both physicians at Mass General, chose not to attend your surgery because of a family graduation. My brother Ryan. Harvard Law. It's tomorrow. And they're both aware of your medical condition, the severity of your renal failure. They're the ones who diagnosed it. 3 years ago. Mom's a nephrologist. Dr. Reed's jaw tightened. A nephrologist who told her daughter in end-stage renal failure that a transplant could wait for a graduation party. They said I was stable. That there was no immediate crisis. You were on dialysis 4 times weekly. Your GFR was 7%. You had a perfect Six-antigen match, which happens in less than 1% of transplant cases. There's no medical justification for delaying. He pulled out a tablet. Ms. Harper, I need your permission to review your complete medical history. Dr. Mitchell has raised concerns about your parents' medical judgment. What kind of concerns? The kind that question whether physicians who can't properly assess their own daughter's critical medical needs should be practicing medicine at all. Over the next 3 days while I recovered in the hospital, Dr. Reed's investigation uncovered a pattern I'd tried to ignore for years. The appendicitis when I was 16. I'd complained of abdominal pain for 12 hours before my parents took me to the ER, because my brother had a soccer tournament. The appendix had ruptured. I'd developed peritonitis and nearly died. Minor stomach bug, my parents had told their doctor. She's always been dramatic about pain. The pneumonia at 19. I'd been sick for 9 days coughing blood before they'd taken me to urgent care, because Ryan had college move-in weekend. I'd needed hospitalization for severe bilateral pneumonia and oxygen support. Probably just a bad cold, Dad had told the pulmonologist. Young people recover quickly. The broken wrist at 14 that wasn't casted for 5 days because it was Ryan's birthday week. It had healed wrong, requiring surgery to re-break and set properly. Every medical crisis in my life had been minimized, delayed, or ignored because something involving Ryan was more important. This is a pattern of medical neglect, Dr. Reed said, showing me his findings on day 3. Your parents are physicians who've repeatedly failed to provide appropriate medical care to their daughter. That's not just bad parenting. It's professional negligence. They're good doctors, I said weakly. To their patients. That makes it worse. They can assess medical urgency in strangers but not in their own child. That suggests willful neglect, not incompetence. On day 5, as I was being discharged, Dr. Reed brought news. The Medical Licensing Board has opened an investigation into both your parents. They'll be required to appear before the board next month. Their hospital privileges at Mass General are suspended pending review. Suspended. A physician who told a patient in end-stage renal failure that a perfect match kidney transplant could wait for a party isn't fit to practice. The board will determine if this is an isolated incident or part of a larger pattern. They'll know it was me. That I reported them. You didn't report them. Dr. Mitchell did. And ethically she had to. When a physician learns of potential medical negligence, especially involving a vulnerable patient, reporting is mandatory. I was discharged on day 6. My friend Caroline drove me home. The same Caroline who'd offered to be my support person when I'd mentioned the transplant months ago. The support person I'd turned down because I'd assumed my parents would be there. My phone had 43 missed calls. Dad, Ryan. Even extended family. The voicemails were variations on the same theme. Rebecca, what did you do? Your father and I are suspended. The board is investigating us because of you. You've destroyed our careers over a transplant that could have waited a few days. How could you be so selfish? Ryan's graduation was ruined. Everyone was asking why we weren't there. You embarrassed the entire family. The final voicemail was from Ryan himself. I hope you're happy. You turned my graduation into a joke. Everyone knows why Mom and Dad missed it, because their daughter reported them to the medical board. You've always been jealous of my success. Now you've sabotaged the biggest day of my life. Caroline listened to the voicemails with increasing disgust. Your brother thinks his graduation party is more important than your kidney transplant? He's always been the priority. The golden child. I'm just, the other one. The other one who nearly died multiple times because your doctor parents couldn't be bothered to take you seriously. The medical board hearing happened 4 weeks later. I wasn't required to attend, but Dr. Reed called me afterward. Your parents received formal reprimands. 18-month suspension of medical licenses. Mandatory ethics training. Permanent notation in their files. 18 months. The board reviewed the complete pattern. The appendicitis, pneumonia, broken wrist, kidney failure. They determined your parents demonstrated persistent inability to properly assess and respond to medical emergencies involving family members. That represents a fundamental failure of medical judgment. What about Mass General? They've terminated both contracts. Your father is no longer chief of surgery. Your mother's nephrology department position was eliminated. They'll need to find new positions elsewhere, assuming they complete the ethics training and have their licenses reinstated. I sat in my apartment, my new kidney functioning beautifully, and tried to process the magnitude of what had happened. My parents called the next day. Dad's voice was hollow. Rebecca, the board's ruling came down. We've lost everything. Our positions, our reputations, our licenses. All because you couldn't wait one weekend for a kidney. I was in end-stage renal failure, Dad. This wasn't elective. We're physicians. We know how to assess medical urgency. We told you it could wait. And the medical board disagreed. So did Dr. Mitchell. So did Dr. Reed. So did the ethics panel that reviewed 3 decades of you minimizing my medical needs. 3 decades? This is about more than the transplant. The appendicitis that ruptured because Ryan had a soccer game. The pneumonia that almost killed me because of college move-in. The broken wrist that healed wrong because of his birthday. Every time I needed you medically, Ryan's schedule mattered more. Silence. We didn't realize. Mom's voice came through, shaking. We thought we were balancing family obligations. You thought Ryan's obligations mattered more than my survival. And now you're facing consequences. Can you talk to the board? Tell them this was a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. You chose a graduation over a transplant. You told a patient in end-stage renal failure to skip a perfect match kidney for a party. That's not a misunderstanding. That's medical negligence. You're our daughter, Dad said desperately. Doesn't that matter? I was your daughter when I was dying too. It didn't matter then. I hung up. Ryan sent emails. Long, angry screeds about ruined careers and family betrayal. I deleted them unread. My parents sent letters. Apologizing. Explaining. Justifying. I kept one. The rest went in the trash. 6 months later, my kidney function was perfect. GFR, 94%. Creatinine, normal. No more dialysis. No more port. No more 4-hour sessions hooked to machines. I was alive because Dr. Mitchell had recognized medical negligence and reported it. Because Dr. Reed had investigated. Because the medical board had understood that physicians who can't properly assess their own daughter's critical condition shouldn't be practicing medicine. My parents eventually had their licenses reinstated after completing ethics training. They found positions at smaller hospitals in other states. Quieter careers. Less prestigious. Ryan graduated from Harvard Law without his parents in attendance. The family photos from that weekend show him with aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone except Mom and Dad who were meeting with the medical board instead. He blamed me. Still does. But I'm alive. With a functioning kidney. Because sometimes the hospital director calls the board. And sometimes doctor parents learn that medical expertise doesn't excuse medical neglect. Even when the patient is family. Especially when the patient is family. The graduation happened without them. The transplant saved my life. And the medical board made sure they understood which mattered more. Finally,